what can I just say that'll just like make someone instantly buy? I thought that was a thing. If your manager has to tell you to do everything, do this, do that, do this, you're not really gonna ever hit what you want to hit. I started to make a lot of sales, but then they weren't getting serviced because of that. People would just call me and cancel like, hey, we don't see anything. This is kind of sketch. Rookies would be like, dude, you did 12 sales today, man? You did 12K? That's crazy. I'm like, oh, I didn't even know. Giving away my secrets on here.
Welcome everybody to the D2D Podcast. We got the Golden Door Deep Dive segment of the podcast where I, your host Roz, picked the brain of all the Golden Door winners of this past year. So we're blessed to have with us Mr. Josh Curtis, courtesy of Aptive Pest Control. Dude, Josh, how you doing, dude?
Doing good. Excited to be here.
Dude, where are you coming in from today?
I live in Orem.
Okay.
So just up the street.
That's good. You beat the traffic, luckily, getting up here to Sandy, Utah.
I was starting to get caught in it a little bit.
Well, all good, my man. We're really happy to have you on here. Congratulations on a Golden Door summer. Walk me through your stats this year. How many accounts did you do? How much revenue was that?
So I should have checked the exact stats, but it was about 660 on the accounts, or between 660 and 680. I had a 980 contract value, which for a lot of guys who are similar situation to me, they actually had a lot higher contract value, or at least like $100 higher.
The bar has been raised.
Makes a difference.
Just so everyone is aware, if you haven't caught on yet.
Yeah, so I'm trying to raise my contract value for next year. And then I ended up with 654K serviced.
Perfect. Congratulations. Where were you at?
So I was in San Jose, California. Actually, that was where I did my first summer. And then the next summer I went to LA. And then I went back to like some of the same neighborhoods. I ran into the same old customers and current customers. I said, hey, what's up?
Oh, that's great.
I checked in on them. They're like, oh, it's going well. You solved the issue. So, I mean, it was pretty cool. And then it was interesting because I actually even, I would knock into people that I recognized, and I knew, I have a good memory for like visual things or things that people will say. And so I would recognize some of the people I didn't sell, and I remembered the reason why I didn't sell them, and I actually sold a couple of those.
That's funny.
So it was pretty
awesome.
awesome.
You went back with the knowledge that you have. You're living everyone's dream of like reliving the past with the knowledge that you now have. So that's pretty epic. What was that like when you knocked on the door of a customer that you didn't sell a couple years before, and then now you are like, did anyone say anything? Were they like, wow, man, like, you actually know what you're doing now, or what was that like?
I think I did talk to a couple people about it. I was like, hey, you remember? Well, actually, I used that a lot once in some neighborhoods where like they remembered me. I'm like, you remember me, right? And they're like, they'd either say yes or no. And so I'm like, yeah, I do actually remember you. Like there was one lady that I sold specifically towards the end of the summer, and I remembered that I remembered the reason I lost her my first year, and it was because I talked too much about the bugs. She only cared about the rodents. She literally didn't really want us to treat for bugs. And so then I made my whole pitch just about the rodents. I mentioned nothing on the bugs, except at the end I was like, do you want me to do anything for the fleas? And she's like, okay, yeah, that'd be cool. And because I remembered that was the only reason I sold her. Because if I'd started off with bugs, she would have never bought.
Dang. And that's a huge testament to, just like the psychology of sales, how we need to turn features into benefits, how we need to play to their hot buttons, and how Sometimes as rookies, we'll talk about the bugs when they don't want to hear about the bugs. They want to hear about the rodents. So I love that you got to go back and right that wrong. That's pretty epic. I imagine you felt, like pretty much like a badass walking through some of those neighborhoods.
It was a good contract too.
That's amazing. So San Jose, California, what's the market there like? Is it very saturated? Is it a lot of switchovers? What are you looking at with that?
So I actually, giving away my secrets on here. I actually like California for a couple reasons. It hardly rains when you knock. Like, I think it rained like twice, maybe 3 times on me, and it doesn't rain all day. It's just like a little bit in the morning. And my rookies are like complaining, like, dude, there's people who are just knocking with umbrellas or just they're in polo. What do you call those? Ponchos. Ponchos. I'm like, ponchos because they're getting soaked. So it doesn't rain a lot, great weather. It doesn't get too hot. People have a lot of money there for the most part.
You have to if you live in California.
It's underrated on the bugs. There's actually a lot of cockroaches, fleas, not a lot of mosquitoes. That's my, I would say, the biggest downside for it. But a lot of rodents as well. Very ethnically diverse. So you do have to learn to sell to those ethnicities because it's different.
This isn't being racist, by the way. This is being smart. This is knowing people. This is knowing culture.
You got to understand the culture. You got to understand the people.
Because people buy from people they both like and people that they trust. If you're, just dinky white boy saying dinky white boy stuff, they're not gonna be as inclined to purchase from you. So, and it's a really cool opportunity as salespeople too, to both learn good communication tactics and to relate and empathize with people that are maybe grew up different than we did.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, just understanding what people care about, and learning to identify that quick. That is actually something that I think really will set from talking to people who do a lot better in the industry with a very similar pitch to other guys who've just been doing it just as long, but they never hit really big numbers. We're like some of the guys that were doing postseason with me. One of the guys he's like, what's setting you apart? Like, why are you and you couple of guys doing so much better than me when we have a very similar pitch? Because he asked me to pitch him. And then what we found out is really just, I'm going to change and adapt my pitch with whatever someone gets me very quickly.
Yeah.
If somebody says something and I notice that, I'm going to flow with that. And so just really knowing when to adapt and read the situation, reading someone's body language or what they care about and are interested in is what will really make a big difference. Absolutely.
And a big difference that I've seen in talking to Golden Door winners too is you're also not afraid to ask for the deal. It's like a lot of guys will have the exact same pitch. Maybe even the guy that's not selling very well has a better pitch than the Golden Door winner. I've seen that before. I've been there before where I knocked with my manager one time and I was like, wow, you actually suck at the door approach. I'm a lot better at this than you. But he wasn't afraid to ask for the deal. So, and I love that you, let's talk to this here. So you're catering your pitch to the person. You're in the people business. You're seeing their body language. You're listening carefully to what they're saying so that way you know exactly what to tell them. A lot of rookies, I feel like, get caught up in that a little too soon, where they don't know the product maybe as well, or they don't know the pitch as well as they should. At what point, how do you learn that skill? And at what point, if you're a new guy, do you start to implement it?
So what I tell my rookies, and I honestly didn't have a ton of rookies, but the ones that I did bring out, I had one of the best RPRs that I know of. It was pretty good. What I tell my guys when I start training them is, listen, everything else will come after you learn the pitch. Learn exactly what I'm telling you to say. Memorize that. I don't want you to change it to how you think it should go. memorize this, then we'll go how to look when you're saying it, how to,
body language,
how to look, and then how you're actually going to say it, when you should downtone, how your face should look,
head nods,
get into all that, and then going from there. Okay, now I'm going to throw this at you. How do you respond? Okay, we're actually going to take it this way. So I'd say just making sure people learn the basics as quick as possible. Because I was training with one of my reps today, and I was showing him, look, I can give you a 30 to 60 second pitch that's good. It gets everything I need to say, but I'm just showing you, look, I can make it very simple, but then I can build off of that and make it a lot more complex or based off of what they need. So I want you to just very simply know you have to say this, you need to say this, and get that out, and then close at the end. Just close hard.
It's baby steps. So as we learn how to crawl, then we learn how to stand, then we learn how to walk, then we learn how to run.
Yeah, I think that is one of the biggest things, is sometimes people just try and throw it all at their rep, and then they're upset that they're not doing this. I'm like, well, they don't need to be closing yet. They don't even know the pitch. So teach them the pitch, then teach them, okay, here's how to overcome a smoke screen, this objection, that, and just build off of that, so they at least have a good foundation first.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's the thing. It's we sometimes have this unrealistic expectation of our reps that if we give them a cup and then we unleash the fire hydrant on them, that they're going to, drink from it plentifully. But in reality, it's they don't know up from down. They don't know left from right. I mean, you get a few guys here and there that they just catch on no matter what you tell them. But in the end, when push comes to shove, if we don't have a system, if we don't have a process, because that's the thing, you need to manage your systems, not manage your people. So when you have that kind of system in place where it's okay, I want to wake you up at 3 a.m. with a cold bucket of water, and I want you to say the pitch.
I've seen that in different people's management styles. I've seen where they just micromanage everything, and their reps aren't going to do well.
Yeah.
And that's actually, that was a big thing for me, is I was just trying to teach my reps to be self-reliant and actually do it because they want to. And so for anyone who is listening, if your manager has to tell you to do everything, do this, do that, do this, you're not really going to ever hit what you want to hit. You just got to be self-motivated and self-driven. And then that's where, because it's like when you go to the doctor, the doctor's asking you what's wrong. You know what's wrong in your systems.
Dude, the power of attitude in there. Who's going to be more effective? The guy who feels like he's being forced to learn the processes and learn the pitch and learn all that, or the guy that wants to learn it? Especially even versus the guy that is I'm supposed to learn this pitch. There's massive differences in those people. So attitude, I love that. So you've obviously come a long way as a leader. What was the biggest hurdle for you to overcome in learning proper leadership?
Well, I think like me, kind of naturally, I've just tried to stray away from, throughout my life, leading the group, in school projects. I'm I don't want to be the group leader. I don't want to take the initiative and do that.
I don't want to be that guy.
I just kind of strayed away from that. And so I've started to try and change my mentality on that, because obviously a big part of the job, if you're doing well, is recruiting and being able to pass your knowledge on to someone else and be able to train them to do great things. And so I've tried to just make a shift in that, and just, if I don't want to do something, okay, I should probably do it then. Just trying to force myself to do things I don't want to do, and just saying, you know what, this will help other people. This will help my future family. This will help my kids. This will help guys. Because I actually didn't want to do sales, but this is something that's completely changed my life.
Yeah.
And so just realizing this opportunity can be there for someone else and trying to help them find that.
Absolutely. And speaking of which, we never went over, how did you get into the industry?
So I've been selling 3 years now, going on 4 summers. Originally, I when I was fresh out of high school, me and my buddies were gonna go work at a call center for a company. I'm not gonna say the company name, but we're gonna work there.
An unnamed company.
he was there working in the call center, so we're like, yeah, we all just want to work together. That would be cool. So me and all my buddies go in, and then they do interviews with us, interview a couple times, and they're like, you know what? We don't want you all working in the call center. We think you'd be good at sales. Ooh. So I just got out of high school. I was 18, and they're like, they didn't show me any numbers. That was actually, I think that was the deterrent for me. But they just said, yeah, you come out with us, you'll make 90 to 100K. We guarantee that. And I was like, how? But they didn't actually tell me how. They just said, we guarantee that.
Just during the summer.
Yeah, just during the summer, and I just got out of high school, and I'm like working.
Poor recruiting technique alert.
Yeah, I was working for $10 an hour. You know, I mean, hourly rate's gone up, but I'm like, what? That's more than my dad makes. And then I was just like, no, I'm not doing sales. So that like
you smell a rat a little bit.
Steered me away.
Too good to be true.
Yeah, it just none of us did it. We're like, yeah, that sounds sketch. Like they won't even hire us to be in the call
we're gonna be drug dealers. Like,
yeah, we didn't know how we were gonna do it. That was the issue. They didn't show us any numbers.
They're not upfront with it.
Yeah, so I just, whenever I recruit, I try and show people the numbers and say, here's how you can actually do this. That's
beautiful.
Make that. Yeah. But then I went on a mission for my church.
Where'd you go?
I went to Scotland and Ireland.
Oh,
it was
nice. Good. When'd you get back?
I got back 2021.
Okay, so you've been back a little bit.
Yeah,
a couple of years now.
Yeah, going on 3 years in April. So
nice, man.
But it was a good time. Great.
You had
experience.
to learn a whole nother language, basically. It's English with a heavy accent.
Oh yeah, and then Scotland and Ireland is like pretty different. So it was crazy. And then I mean, there's a bunch of different cultures there as well that I met, like Brazilians, some Portuguese, and some Spanish, some Chinese.
Now here's the big question with Scotland: did you eat the haggis?
I did eat the haggis.
Attaboy.
Okay, now here's the thing: is the cheap haggis like you'd get in like it's kind of like a Cafe Rio sort of thing. Okay. But it's not. It's their version. I don't remember the name, but it's a burrito place. They put cheap haggis in there. That one was good. I actually liked it. But the expensive haggis, that smells exactly how it's made. And so like all I'm thinking about is I'm like, wow, this literally smells like we went to like a sheep barn, and I'm just straight up eating raw sheep right now.
So for those who are not, or for those who are listening, haggis is a traditional Scottish meal that what's all in it?
I think it's sheep intestine, ground up meat or something,
like lung in it, stuff like that.
All the
some
parts
like organs,
all the parts you don't want, and then it's like I think it's aged for like a long time.
Oh wow.
I can't remember, but I think it is aged for a long time. So like the really premium haggis, expensive stuff, it's tough smelling.
Wow.
And it kind of tasted like that, so it wasn't. I didn't love it, but the cheap haggis, like you can buy out of a can. You could probably even find it here. It's not bad.
Okay, so the principle: eat the haggis, experience life at the fullest. If you're in Scotland, just eat the haggis. If you're knocking doors, just go all out. Just do exactly what it needs to be done.
Just try it. Why not?
Just try it. Why not? Sam's old assistant actually did a mission in Scotland.
Oh, for real?
She was one of the like senior missionaries. Penny Escamilla, I don't know, or Escamilla?
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I served with her.
Oh, that's awesome. Yeah, she worked here for a long time. But yeah, she always would say that. Eat the haggis.
No, that's awesome. After this, I'll shoot her a message. I'll be like, hey, I was talking to Sam.
Yeah, she's a sweetheart. But anyway, so yeah, you serve your mission, and then you come back.
So yeah, actually, before I got back, so my brother actually he got off a mission, and his mission buddies were, I think on his mission he decided, I should do sales. I don't know how he came to that conclusion. I think I should ask him again because I don't remember, but his mission buddies went and did sales. And so then he goes out for a summer. I don't know, he makes like 30 to 40 grand. And then he hits me up while I'm on my mission. Well, I was allowed to call home, and he calls me. He's like, hey, when you get back, because we were really good friends. Like our friend group's like the same, like our best friends. So we'd always hanging out together. He's like, hey, you get back, I'm going to be leaving like within 3 weeks. So if you want to hang out, you got to come sell with me. I was like, I don't want to do sales. I don't think pest control. I'm like, I don't think I believe in that. I don't think I could sell that. And he's like, trust me. He's like, trust me. I know you do good. You'd kill it. And I was like, all right, whatever. So he sends me the paperwork. I sign on. I was still like not sure about it. I was like, well,
Elder Curtis signing on.
I was like, well, what do I have to lose? I'm like, I got like $4K in the bank coming home. And like, he said he made over 30 grand, and I grinded my butt off to pay for my mission. Because like a lot of stuff happened right before that. I lost a bunch of money, just car crash and all this stuff.
Yeah.
Some medical bills and stuff. So I was working 2 full-time jobs to like try and pay.
Wow.
And so I'm like, wow, you made way more money than I did doing that. So I don't have anything to lose. I'm like, why not? I'll try it. And I mean, I love my brother. So I'm like, I mean, if I get to go live with them, sure. Even if I don't make it much.
Yeah.
And then I come back and I start training to show me what their average guy does. I'm like, well, I'm not average. I'm going to do above average.
Yeah.
And I'm like, all right, well, maybe you'll do 150. I'm like, no, I'm going to do more than that.
Yeah.
I'm like, I'm going to do 170. And then I go out, and I only had 3 weeks home before I was going out. 1 week of that was spent with family, and the other 2 I was just like trying to train. And they like, my managers were like, "Whoa, you're trying to train like more than we have time to." So I was hitting up other rookies. I'm like, "Hey, can we like hop on Zoom? I know you're trying to train. You want to train with me?"
Wow, so you were serious about it.
Yeah, I was like, if I'm gonna go for something, I'm going all in. I don't ever want to like commit to something and not do it.
Yeah.
And so I'm like, I'm going to just train. I'm just going to train as hard as I can. I was watching the videos. I'm like, okay, I like that. I'm going to try and add that in. Because I learned the pitch, and I was like, I'm going to take that. And so I was like really just trying to perfect this pitch and everything. And then I get out there, and like, you know, first days are rough.
Yeah.
My first day, I didn't make any sales. It wasn't a full day. That was a half day. So, I mean.
Yeah. So sufficiently humbled.
Next day, I think I did make one sale. I did make one. And then after that, I made like 2. But in the beginning, it was like 1 to 2, and yeah, like 1 to 2, and but barely making one. Like 9 o'clock's rolling around, I'm barely making a sale. But at night, because I like, these guys had way more training than me. They had all this time. I was like, I have to catch up. And so this summer, actually, one of my buddies, he sent me a Snapchat memory, and it's me in my polo, my hat on, my shoes on, my tag on at the kitchen table, 12 o'clock at night. I'm watching training videos. So when everyone else was coming home, just playing video games or doing whatever, I was watching training videos, barely even eating my food, because I'm like, I can't be top on the team. I promised them I'm going to be top of the team. I got to show that. And so I'm like, I just refuse to like not win at something I really set my mind on. I'm like, I moved out here. I'm out here. Like, I better be making money. And so like several weeks of that, and then I start to see like progress. I'm actually started making, 3 sales a day. I'm started making 1 every time before lunch. I started making 2 before lunch. And then pretty soon I'm making like 5 or more sales a day. And I also had, like, in California, you need a license to sign contracts. I never got that license because I had so little time. I went and took the test before the day before I went to California, and the guy forgot to sign it at the end. So I passed everything. He didn't sign it. He sends me a text asking I'm in California. He's like, "Hey, I forgot to sign that, by the way." I mean, they didn't even try and like sign it electronically. They could have done something like that, but I don't know. He just didn't do it. So then I'm out there, and I have to rely on the technician a few days later, because we didn't have many same days, to get the signature for me, and then remind him of everything. So they feel like they didn't commit to anything. and they wouldn't get like the contract in their email because they didn't sign it. So I had like a lot of hurdles. I had to prepare people for that because I started to make a lot of sales, but then they weren't getting serviced because of that. Or like people would just call me and cancel like, hey, we don't see anything. This is kind of sketch. So anyway, I figured out how to like fix that. And so then I started actually doing a bunch of revenue. And I started to start just passing everyone.
Yeah.
And then I ended up like one of the top rookies in the region. I was out 3.5 months. The one who beat me was out like 4 or more months. He did like 210 and I ended at 190. Which 190K was more impressive then because it was like a 760 contract.
Yeah.
And then, which is funny because back then people were like, man, you're scamming people because of my contract value, which is hilarious if you look at it from now.
Yeah.
What contract values are. But yeah, I felt like I crushed it. I'm like, dude, I did more than I thought I would do. And so then I make way more than I thought I would make. And then I'm like, well, I mean, of course I'm going to do it again. And then year 2, so I just got off my mission. So like mentality was like great.
Yeah.
I just didn't know how to sell.
You're riding on the righteousness.
Yeah, that was the hardest.
You can sell Jesus. You can sell anything.
Yeah, that was the hardest thing is learning the pitch because I didn't have the pitch. That was the first summer hurdle. Then second summer I come back out. I just kind of like, I kind of think I'm the shiz. And then didn't train the most, but I'm like, I'm going to do 350, 400K coming back out because I heard people can double. I was like, if they double, I'm going to double. I'm like, what? I got to double.
Yeah.
But I go to new area, and the thing is, and I think a lot of rookies will struggle with this, or even experienced reps, is I was always finding myself complaining about area. I was complaining about the area that was drawn for me. I was like, I'm not going to sell here. People are saying no. People are being rude. Oh, there's other people knocking. So I was just like getting way too in my head. And then in competitions, if I wasn't hitting the number, I'm like, shoot, can I even sell anymore?
You getting in the head.
And then I'm like looking at my end summer goal. I'm like, dude, I'm not on pace for that. And so I set a new goal of 250. And then I did hit it. But I did stay through September to the end of September. So I stayed out longer. So I mean, like I did well, but I was like, I know I could have done so much better. But I was always having like mental battles like week to week. So my months some months were up and some were down.
Yeah.
So it wasn't like consistent. And I think that's like the biggest advantage to this job is if you can learn to be consistent and just let it flow.
Steady Eddie.
Yeah, and so I come back, and then this year going out this time last year, well, I guess it was this time last year, they put a group of guys together at Aptive, and they're like, okay, we know you guys have it in you to go and hit some big numbers. And so we just want to make a group that you guys will like publicly commit to hitting 500K.
Wow.
And they just took like a bunch of people who did like, 400, 300, 210 and above. But people who were like willing to like set that goal. Yeah. And they invited us to this retreat, and they just brought in like a bunch of really good speakers. And this one guy who's a personal trainer for like some pretty successful people. And he was just talking a lot, and he's like, what's your goal? He's like, well, I assume your goal is this, but like, what's your goal? And then I was like, well, I lost some recruiting battles to people who hit Golden Door just because they promised, I'll be able to train you better than Josh can. So I was like, I gotta hit a Golden Door this year. I'm like, that's my goal, and I was telling people that from this time last year. So I think that's a big thing as well. Like when you set a goal, like you tell people about it and you're committing to it. You're like, I'll do whatever it takes to do this. So I committed like way before the summer. I'm like, I'm doing 650. I have to. But he just talked a lot about mentality. He's like, you know the pitch. He's like, you can tell me about pest control. You can tell me what it is, what you can do for this. You can answer my questions. You can overcome my objections. But what's going to make you like be able to last all summer and do well and hit your goals is actually what's up here. And so, and then I realized, like, I was like, my second summer, I actually forgot to mention this. My second summer, I was focused so much on like, dude, what is this top guy saying? Like, what is he saying? And my manager's like, dude, he's probably saying like very similar to you. I'm like, no, there's no way. He's got to have some like secret.
He's got the secret pitch.
He's got the secret pitch, secret sauce. He's just not like sharing with anyone else. I'm like, what is it? And then I was like, what can I just say that'll just like make someone instantly buy? I thought that was a thing. I'm like, what can I say that'll just make someone buy?
There's a combination of words out there. I just got to find it.
And me and like some of my buddies on that team were just like sitting together like, dude, we got to try this. We got to try this. And it just wasn't working. And then when he was telling me that, I'm like, dude, I'm going about it all wrong. Mm-hmm. I'm like, I was having mental battles in competition. Like, dude, we're losing the cup. It's my fault because I'm not performing. I'm one of the top performers on the team. I'm letting my team down. And so I'm getting in my head. And so that's not just a 1 day thing. It's carrying on to a week thing and then on to a 2 week thing and then a month thing. And so I'm like, I cannot have that happen. And so then they walked us through, hey, here's how you can snap out of it and get back into a mentality quick. Here's some things you can do, like gratitude. Like you can't your brain can really only focus on what you allow it to. So if you figure out a way to like snap out of it.
Yeah.
And so they just did a lot of training on that. And, I started listening to like some more books and about successful people and focusing on that. And I was like, you know what? My pitch is fine. My pitch is good. Yep. And then I go out there and I'm like, okay, I'm committing to this. I'm just going to do everything in my power to make this happen. And then I think another big thing is like, just breaking down your goal. I'm like, okay, I have to get at least this many sales a day. Now, how am I going to do that? I'm like, okay, I start out with just 2, which is, I'm like, I'll get 2 sales before I go to lunch. And that's not like even big. And I'm like,
2 before noon.
Yeah, 2 before I take lunch. I'm like, I will do that every day, 2 before lunch. And then when I started to hit that, I'm like, okay, now I'm going to do that to 3. And then just kind of
breaking it down.
Yeah, I'm like, okay, if I get 3 before lunch, I know that I can at least go get 2 or 3 in the after lunch. Then that puts you at 5 or 6 sales in the day. And if it's 1,000 contract value, that's 5,000 to 6,000, which is what puts you on what you need to, depending on how much time you give yourself. Mm-hmm. And then that just compounded because then if I get 3, maybe 4 in the morning, and I'm like, I'm not taking lunch till I hit this goal. Then when I have a big afternoon, I'm at 8, 10, 12 sales on the day. And then if that's close to $1,000 contract value, that's a huge day. And then that carries into the week. So this summer, there were some days that were up and there were some days that were down. But, I was not really ever like bageling. But because I was like, okay, I will do this. I will do this, and my car partner would like commit to doing that as well. And so we're like, okay, we just got to get that sale. We got to get that sale so we can have lunch.
Yeah.
And then, if I had an off day, I'm like, okay, well, I'll make that up the next day because I go home at the end of the day, don't beat myself up over it. I just know it'll come. And then I was actually looking towards the end of the summer, I was looking back at weeks. And I was like, there's like, for the most part, there was a couple weeks that I had a lot bigger, but for the most part, it was like a $2,000 to $3,000 difference in my week.
Yeah.
They were like, it was pretty flatline. And I would come home after the day and rookies would be like, dude, you did 12 sales a day, man? You did 12K? That's crazy. I'm like, oh, I didn't even know.
What's your pitch, bro?
You're like, dude, that's crazy. How'd you do that? I'm like, I don't know.
Well, it's so much easier to sell 2 than it is 12.
Yeah.
So it's like if you can get 2, and then just add a little bit more and break it into those chunks.
Just like if someone wants to go hit big numbers, like figure out what you can do in a day. Like if it's your second year, figure out what you can do and be like, okay, I know I can do that in a day. Mm-hmm. And then just make sure that that's your goal. I got to hit that every day.
Yeah.
I got to hit that every day. How am I going to do that? I'm going to commit to hitting this before lunch because then it makes it so much easier. Because I know the evening is money time because that's when decision makers are home.
There we go. Prime time, baby.
But yeah, I just think like just getting in your head, like don't ride the roller coaster. Like, it was a good day, but don't get too hyped that it was a good day. And then don't get too sad when it was a bad day. Just like, all right, well, I'll go out. I'll do better tomorrow.
Yeah.
And so that I just, like I saw reps on the team that I knew could have hit a certain number, that because they got so burned out because they kept riding that roller coaster, that they're just, kind of gave up in the end. And they still had a good summer.
Yeah.
But I know what they could have done if they just flatlined it. And so I think that's like the biggest thing to learn to do.
Steady Eddie, consistency over intensity, kind of some of our favorite cliches, but honestly, there's so much truth in them. Because if you can, create, and we've said this on the podcast before, take today's limits and make them tomorrow's standards. That's how you sell big numbers. That's how you break through your limitations. And then having the discipline, the willpower, and the mentality, especially like we've been talking about, to get that.
Yeah, exactly. And then, another thing is like, you got to also decide, like, if someone were to go for a golden door, I think you need to like decide, look, if I'm going for a golden door, this is probably my career path for the next bit, right?
Yeah.
Like you're not just gonna go hit a golden door and be like, yeah, cool, I'm done. I'm not going back next.
It's not
summer.
A walk in the park.
It's like, like why would you do that? That doesn't make any sense. And so then when you do that, you're like, okay, do I need to just do like a short college to college,
Mm-hmm.
the in-between college time, summer, or can I give myself a little bit more time? Because that was something for me. Like I know guys like, if I look at like my summer, like I know there's a lot of days where I was, usually top 10 most days of the summer. But if that's not like every single day, then that means I need more time. I need a little bit more time to make that average get me to where I need to be.
Yeah.
Especially if I'm not having perfect service to sales. And so that, I'm like, what, I'm not going to register for classes because I might need a little bit, maybe not the full month of September, but I might need some of that.
Yeah.
And so I just gave myself that time and I'm like, this is my career right now. So I'm going to lean into that.
Absolutely. Buy-in, commitment, and then sacrifice.
Exactly.
Because it's a sacrifice to be like, you know what? I'm not going to enroll in classes because I need that time and I need to go sell because this is my long term. This is my career. So absolutely powerful.
What's up, everybody? Door-to-Door Con 7's coming up January 25th through the 27th in Salt Lake City, Utah. If you have not got your ticket, you're going to miss out on the industry's leading event with vendors over 100, with over 40 speakers on recruiting, sales, finance, growing your business, scaling. And we've had over 3,000 attendees there last year, and this year is going to be bigger and better with Lance Armstrong, Sean White, Kent Clothier, myself, and so many really cool people to network with the best. We have more Golden Door winners this year. We have more coming at you, and I don't think you're going to want to miss it.
So Josh, leaning in a little bit into D2D Con, I know this is your first one.
Yeah.
What are you most looking forward to?
I honestly, I just want to, hear other guys' perspectives. Because, there's 7 guys that did it at Aptive, 7 Golden Doors for this year. But
you know who you are.
But there's gonna be a lot more here. I just want to hear other people's perspectives and like how they do it, how they hit their big numbers, and like what goes through their mind every day. And then just I think it's a great networking opportunity, and maybe even people share like what they do specifically to get in the right mindset every day. So just those little things that I can have 1% improvements that I can take into next year. That's what I'm looking for.
I love that.
I actually, last year, when I was at the gym with my brother, we saw Sam Taggart there working out, and my brother's like, dude, we got to go say hi. I was like, all right, cool. And this is when I just like recently committed. I'm like, I'm doing Golden Door this next year. And so I'm like, yeah. He's like, you ever been? I'm like, no, we've never been, but like we have the D2D University, like the training.
Yeah.
So we were watching that and stuff, and I'm like, no, I'm gonna do it this year. I'll be there this year. I mean, he probably won't remember that, but I told him
hilarious.
I would be. And yeah, I told all my family, I'm like, I'm gonna do it this year. And a lot of, there's a lot of people that doubted. Even some of my managers are like, really? You think you can do that? I'm like, yeah, I'll do it.
Hell yeah, dude. Hell yeah. Powerful, empowering note to end on right there, my friend. So everyone, D2D Con, January 25th through the 27th. We're absolutely excited to have you on stage. And guys, come talk to him. He's an open book. He won't bite you twice.
I am an open book. People would hit me up during the summer like, dude, what's your advice? Even from some other companies, and I just send them a voice recording. I'm like, why not? Like,
yeah, guys, watch this. What's your pitch?
What's my pitch?
What's your pitch?
I have a very chill pitch unless I need to adapt it. So from the beginning, I'm just knocking on the door. I'm looking down, 6 feet back sort of thing. You want me to pitch you?
Yeah. Pitch me, dude. Hey, what's up?
Hey, how's it going?
Good.
Awesome. You must be the boss here.
Sometimes.
Awesome. I'm Josh. Nice to meet you. Area manager out here with Aptive Pest Control. You probably see my truck. We're at Stacy, John, Jeffries. We're doing For the Homes Behind, about 15 here in the neighborhood.
Okay.
The reason I was stopping by, it's actually mainly been ants and spiders, a couple of roaches. Mm-hmm. But if we can fit you in while we're already out here with everyone else, we're actually doing a huge group discount. What's the square footage of your home here?
I actually do that myself, man.
Awesome. And I know a lot of guys out here do as well. I'm usually just getting like the Home Depot home defense.
Yeah.
Cool. And like mostly ants, spiders, roaches. What are you mostly
Probably
spraying?
Both, yeah.
Okay. And do you hit it like pretty like monthly or just like?
Just kind of when I can get to it,
Okay. And that's the thing is a lot of people are like pretty, they're pretty busy. And so, I mean, I'm sure you're a busy guy as well, right?
Yeah.
At the end of the day, pest control, it's you'll make more if you were just to spend that time on something else. It'll be more worth your time. And so what I'm going to be doing different is, because I know you'll just spray around the base, right? Maybe hit like the windowsills and the doorway, maybe the garage too.
Yeah.
Correct? We're actually going to hit up top. We'll clean down all the spiders and wasps. And then a really big, cool thing this year is we'll actually come with a backpack sprayer and we're going to spray all that, the roof line.
Okay.
And around like the doors and windows. Because like if you just hit them with the broom, like your wife, she comes sweep down the spider webs now and then.
So yeah, sometimes.
Come back the next day because they just hide in the corners. Mm-hmm. So if we spray, it'll actually take care of the adult spiders and then their eggs. So not like drop them down, get in the attic, and then get inside. Okay. Mm-hmm. And then down the base, you get the ants, silverfish, the weird looking gray bug.
Oh yeah, I hate those things.
Yeah. Okay. So those guys get up in the wall and then you start seeing them inside, especially as it heats up. So I'm going to go 2 feet up, 2 feet out all the way around. Flushing agent gets on their bodies, takes to the nest, takes out the whole thing. And then just kind of seal that off so they're not getting back up in there for the rest of the summer.
Okay. And
then the big thing is home defense. You can't just go spray the whole yard with that. That's going to kill the grass, not be good for the kids, right?
Okay.
I actually got a product for the yard. It's kid pet friendly, so I don't have to worry there. Okay. But we'll treat all those nesting sites from the front curb, sides, back, and then make sure Jim's bugs aren't coming over from next door. Okay. We'll hit that fence line. Now, are you guys going to need anything like on the inside or just outside more?
Probably mostly on the outside, but like, do you have a card or something you could leave with me? I can talk to my wife about it and we can give you a call a little bit later.
Absolutely. I did forget. I didn't even really mention the pricing on that. But yeah, mostly just the outside for everyone else as well. Typically if you were to call our office, it would actually be $3.99 to start. But after that, it actually comes way down, especially for a guy like you. I call it my do-it-yourself special. It's typically 219. I'm just gonna drop that to 169.
Okay.
Just every couple months, more in the summer, less in the winter because you don't need as much. But if you do need more as well, so you don't have to deal with it, just text me, let me know. I'll get you a complimentary service so you're taken care of, okay?
Okay.
And we'll do that for at least a year, okay? Just to give me a shot, okay? See how it goes, and I guarantee you'll keep me for life, okay? And I'll tell you what, the garage, I know you get spider webs in there. Go ahead and pop that open for my guy. We'll get that free and included. Does that sound fair?
That sounds fair.
Cool. What was your name?
Dude, let's go. Let's go. So, guys, let's look at this. Let's break this down. Well, one, he was an open book. So come talk to him at D2D Con. He'll share his secrets. He'll share his pitch. Remember, hope you guys took notes from this podcast. It's not about what you say. It's about who you are. It's about that identity. It's about that mindset. But again, we have this abundance mindset. We'll share our tips and tricks. We're sharing what's making us tick. We're sharing what's making us successful. So what made that pitch very successful was, very effective objection handling. Didn't make it a big deal, no matter what. Then you played to both the ego of the customer. It's like, oh, hey, you're a guy that values your time. You're a guy that values what you want. So I saw how you catered that pitch to me specifically, and then you just closed. Which, guys, pay attention to stuff like that. Because if you're not selling people, if you're just selling a product, that's a problem. So good work. Good work. We can see how you're doing, $650,000 in revenue. So anything else you want to add to that? Any other, points of tips or tricks that you could help people with? They're learning from something like that.
Just learn the pitch inside and out, because then it's he said something maybe I wasn't expecting him to say, he's going to be doing it himself. Learn how you can take that, but still with the same points I got to hit into my pitch, close them. Okay, he says another thing. Okay, resolve that and just close hard again immediately. Otherwise, it's just awkward and you're not going to make the sale.
Always close, guys. So, absolutely awesome. So, guys, this has been another episode of the Golden Door Deep Dive Podcast. We're excited to see you all on January 25th through the 27th here in Salt Lake City, Utah. So, we'll see you all there. Josh Curtis, has been amazing. Thanks for coming in.
Appreciate it. Thanks for having me.
All right. Cool, man.